Hey everyone, it's Rachel from Sugar Maple Farmhouse, and today we're going to make a dish that was said to have been invented by Italian prostitutes. So today we are making linguine alla Puttanesca, and that is the dish that was said to have been invented in a brothel in Italy, in Naples. And basically it was an inexpensive dish with really simple ingredients, and the women would eat it between appointments with their clients. I'm going to make that for you today. It is a more traditional Italian dish, and I love this dish. It honestly tastes like something my grandmother and I would have eaten in Italy when we were there together. And I think it is really going to be one of my favorite dishes that I make probably the entire year. It is also a great dish for year round because it is so quick to make, and it doesn't actually use a lot of fresh ingredients, which is a little strange for me. And I will tell you why as we get into that. But it is fancy enough that you can even make it for a dinner party, or you can just make it for yourself and your family on a Sunday night. Let's get started and I'll show you how to make it. Okay, so to start off, we are going to start in a cold pan, and that is not something I do often, but that is how this dish starts. So then you want to add 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil to your pan, and then we are going to add in some fresh garlic, all still in a cold pan, some capers, and an ingredient that you may not have had that often, but this is anchovies. This dish has a very briny, lovely flavor as the brininess, the saltiness kind of pairs with the tomatoes. And I will tell you, if you are not an anchovy fan, these actually, you cannot find them in this once it's all cooked. They actually kind of disappear into the pasta and kind of melt into the pasta. So don't freak out if you are not an anchovy fan. If you at all like any little bit of seafood, you'll love this pasta. And if you love that briny, salty flavor, I think you'll really love this one too. So these are going to go straight in to our cold pan still. And then we want to add in a little bit of red pepper flakes. Just really a pinch or so. Close that up. And then we are going to add in some salt. And we'll toss in a little pepper now too. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on and get everything heating together. The idea of putting this all in a cold pan is that the olive oil will heat slowly. So it'll really infuse the flavors of the garlic, the anchovies, the capers, the red pepper flakes, the salt and pepper into that oil. And this is what it looks like in my pan right now. So you can see just all of that in there together. And it is going to begin heating up for us here. I can smell the brininess coming off of this already, and it is just delicious smelling. I also, in back of me, have a pot of water that is boiling, that has been salted already for my linguine. And this doesn't take very long. You can make this whole meal in about 20, maybe 25 minutes at the most. And that's really for the pasta cooking time. You can see we're starting to heat up a little bit now here. And we're going to cook this together for about 3 to 5 minutes. Probably just 3 actually. I'm going to turn my heat down. We don't want anything to burn in our pan, but it's really going to be dependent on how soon your garlic starts to soften and how soon you can smell all those amazing flavors kind of coming together in the pan. So I will tell you, this dish was said to originate in Naples, but there are different versions of this dish throughout Italy now. And in Naples, they actually don't even use the anchovies apparently, but it is a very prominent, popular ingredient in the dish kind of throughout Italy. Now I'm going to add in just a little bit of white wine. This is not traditional. I just like to put it in there. I think it adds to the flavor and really helps to pull some of all this together. So you can see the white wine in there now, and I can really start to smell it all come together. We are going to let the white wine reduce by about half before we add in the next ingredient. Okay, so now you can see that the white wine has reduced by about half, and we are going to add in the tomatoes. Now, these are going in straight from the can, which is why I said this is not something that I traditionally do. I try to cook with the freshest ingredients as possible usually, but in this recipe, it is better to use canned tomatoes because not only are you going to get the full tomatoes, but then you get some kind of the sauce around the tomatoes too. And it really just creates the great base for the pasta. You don't get too much tomato, you don't get too little, and it just turns into a really lovely dish this way. Plus, it really makes it easy to make this then when tomatoes are no longer in season by you. I like to crush the tomatoes in here to help them along because you really do want this to turn into a nice, beautiful sauce. Once I've crushed the tomatoes a little, I'm going to add in some black olives. Now, in a lot of recipes, you will find the olives are left whole. I like to cut some of them in half so that I can get some more of that flavor infused into the pasta sauce. You can leave them whole. Also, in some recipes, they do not use black olives. They will use a mild green olive or they will use Greek olive. So you can use probably whatever olive you most prefer. But in my family, we like the green or the black ones. Now with everything in our pan, we are going to let this simmer. And I think I might actually move it back to my stove because I have a little more control over the heat back there than I do on this. And you want this to simmer for 10 minutes or so. So I'm gonna let it do that. I'm going to continue to crush the tomatoes as it simmers, and then I'm gonna put my pasta in my water back there because I can hear it boiling. Now, when I made this the first time, I used fresh pasta. If you are going to use fresh pasta, you probably want to use about 18 ounces of the pasta. In this case, I'm now using boxed pasta today, and I'm using a pound of it. So now I'm sitting here as this is cooking, and if I need to crush the tomatoes more, I will. Although these are looking pretty good. And you can see this is cooking up really nicely together. I am probably just above a simmer on my pan. Let's get some fresh herbs chopped for this. I am going to use parsley, oregano, and basil. For fresh oregano, I will just strip the stems and then chop just the leaves. Every now and then I chop everything all together, but because this dish is so kind of, I guess I want to say it almost melts in your mouth. I kind of don't want to end up with any of those little bits of stem in the recipe. I'm also going to grate up some fresh Romano cheese to add to the top of my pasta. All right, here's one final look at what the sauce looks like. And if you think it looks runny, don't worry about that. It will not stay that way. This smells incredible right now. And I'm just going to add our noodles to the pan. I try not to kind of shake my pasta off after it drains, so it's got some of that kind of salty pasta water coating it still. And I think that really helps kind of add to the whole dish. Once the pasta's in here, you just kind of want to lightly toss everything together. I like to use tongs for this part because it really kind of helps me get some of those chunks of tomatoes integrated into the pasta. But when you're working with them, if you have a cast iron enamel pan, you just have to be careful. So wooden spoons will work too. So here is what all this is looking like. You can see that it doesn't look very runny anymore. And you can really see the tomatoes, the olives, the capers, even chunks of garlic through that. But you probably won't be finding any anchovies. Okay, the power is off on my little cooktop. You don't want to heat it really once you start putting the pasta in. So turn that off before you start putting the pasta in. Now that everything's all mixed in well together, I'm going to add my fresh herbs. So I'll add the oregano first on there. And let's add in that basil. And the parsley. I really love to finish off any dish with some fresh herbs. I just think it makes it look beautiful. I really love colorful food. Let's dig in and try this now. It smells so amazing. I can smell the brininess from this, from all the ingredients, the olives, the capers, the anchovies. Let's get a few more olives in here. Okay, and then on my personal dish, I will add some more fresh herbs. I also will add that cheese. I didn't forget it. I just don't usually put it on top of the pasta as a whole. I save it for my personal dish. And then some salt and some pepper too. Now I just need to grab a fork. So there is my own personal pasta dish. Okay, let's try this. Let's grab an olive too. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It honestly tastes like something that my grandmother and I ate when we were in, I actually don't remember what town we were in, but I have it like, I have the memory of her and I there like carved into my brain, and it just tastes like something we ate there. And it was a pasta that had octopus in it. but it's amazing. It's so good. It doesn't taste overly fishy if you're not a fishy person. It tastes briny. So that is the flavor that comes through, and the salt and kind of the tenderness of the tomato. Let's get one of those on this bite. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you love the linguine alla puttanesca and that it is something your family loves and your guests love wherever you serve it. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Also, I will leave a link to the full blog post with all the instructions and the exact measurements in the description below. You can find that at sugarmaplefarmhouse.com, and that again is down in the description below. Also, before you go, if you could subscribe to our channel, I would love to have you here. I cook, I garden, I craft. I like to keep my hands busy. And if you like to keep your hands busy, then this is the perfect place for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day, everyone.